Towing is a career full of different situations, from vehicles missing a wheel to having none at all. A great operator learns to use all the tools in both his physical and mental toolbox. I'm here today to tell you about a new, exciting tool to add to your physical toolbox, the BakPul hitch. Like many people on the internet, I had my doubts about this product. Doubts I personally aired on this podcast. But the fine folks over at BakPul Hitch sent me one of their products to try, and boy, was I surprised. Its quality of build and ease of use made me eat my words real quick. So if you're a doubter like I was, head over to bakpulhitches.com for more information and to find out how to add another tool to your toolbox. That's BakPul hitches.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I'm your host, TowManG, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the man with very strong opinions, Mr. PlainGuy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
Well, these pre-shows that unfortunately the wonderful listeners don't get to listen to right away is just getting me all fired up for this show. I don't know about you.
Well, that's because in the pre-show, we get to really speak our mind on things.
Yeah.
Like, how many times during a pre-show conversation do I say, you can't include that? You can't include that.
A lot.
You can't include that.
A
Right.
lot.
It is the reality of it, right? No one realizes, you know, in the day and age that we live in, you got to remember what you're saying when you're being recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, there is a lot of ways to hurt a lot of people's feelings. Luckily for us, our listeners are all in the towing industry, and people have tried for years to hurt their feelings without success. Because if they had success, they probably still wouldn't be in the towing industry. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah, but that brings me to one of the things I wanted to talk about. Screw the intro. We'll do that in a bit. Show topics overall. Do you want them to be 99% towing related or other hot topics that might get us canceled from our 130 listeners a week up your alley as well? Let us know.
That's your YouTube numbers. I think the show as a whole, if I'm allowed to have my opinion on this.
No one else's opinion matters.
That is true. I think the show we've done somewhat of a job where we've been able to keep it towing related, add in a little bit of flair about ourselves, right? Without, you know, our main thing that we have done has been, we have, you know, obviously we don't use our names. If you guys thought my name was PlainGuy and his was TowManG, I mean, sorry to, you know, I feel like somebody telling a kid that doesn't exist, right? Like, I don't think anyone's really.
Maybe I'll just beep that out just in case kids are watching. Don't censor the bad words, but we'll bleep that out for you parents out there.
But no, you know, we've done certain things in order to just protect the integrity and whatever. It has allowed us the freedom to say what we want to say. Yeah. Right. You have come on this show before and said that you just say things sometimes for the entertainment value and not, you know, necessarily your true opinion on something. Yeah. And I've said it before and I will say it again. I have not. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's ever been a topic, a statement, or a sentiment that I have said that I am strictly saying for the purpose of the show. Mm-hmm. Now, it has gotten me in trouble. And what I mean by that is that I have had coworkers who have come to me and said, you said this. I had one the other day on episode 2. And I went, the first thing I'll tell you is that you can never hold me accountable in this job for anything that I say on that show. And secondly, I don't remember what I said last week, let alone episode 2. So you could be lying. No. You could be telling the truth. The one thing about this show is that we're not scripted in any way. So what I feel and how we get off topic half the time is just it. Here it is. Yeah. Have I tried to, you know, save feelings and save getting in trouble by not anyone that knows me in real life will know that I use much more inappropriate terms at times.
Yeah.
I have, like, I'm not a perfect person.
Mm-hmm.
I have definitely used words we're not allowed to use anymore.
But most tow truck drivers are that way.
Words that we were never allowed to use that we did anyways. And absolutely been a bigot, all these kind of things, all these things, all of them.
No.
But I don't think the Towing Life podcast, as much as we can bring into our daily lives and give you guys a deep dive on you know, being relatable, right? Like, we're not multi-million-dollar owners trying to talk to operators who, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't touched a tow truck in 2 years, and you know what I mean? We do more accounting than, you know, or business management than we do towing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not doing as much towing as I would like lately because of other commitments and different things going on, but we're relatable that way. So maybe you're right. Maybe we can get into world topics like the 5 idiots that went into a submarine the size of a pop can, controlled by a video game controller.
Yeah.
And God, I hope to God they are safe. And if they're not, I'll apologize in advance to the families.
Yeah.
But I mean, you put yourself in that kind of situation, like, maybe people want to hear our opinions on those topics.
Well, with your disclaimer aside, because that's all that was a fancy disclaimer saying maybe yes and no. We are going to get into a few things today. At least one of the topics that I want to talk about today. Let's kind of delve into the possibility of getting off topic from the towing industry. So I want to hear your feedback from it. So if that's something that you like or you would like to hear more of, feel free to send us an email at thetowinglife@gmail.com, or you can message us on Facebook at The Towing Life Podcast on Facebook, or you can bleep bloop it down below in the comment section on YouTube. And while you're down there, you might as well hit the fucking like button. I'll have to bleep that word, but just smash the hell out of that like button for me. And if all else fails, you can check out our website at www.towinglife.ca.
You know what I really got a kick out of that?
What?
Is watching you, and why I went on to laughing, and no one would know I was laughing unless they're on the video side over on YouTube for audio listeners, is when we make this announcement, we have a little banner that runs across the bottom of the page, right?
Yeah.
Banner we can turn off and on. And as soon as you started reading it, I watched your eyes drop down to it to start reading it.
You do the same thing.
100% I do. It's to make sure that I don't get it wrong. I say it once a week.
Yeah.
It is hard to train myself to remember something once a week.
Yeah.
I say many more words once a week that I have to not say. Most of my mental capacity is being spent ensuring that doesn't happen, which can be edited out.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make for true raw feelings and uncut, right? For the most part, I think it's fair to say we're an uncut podcast.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like, no one understands
dead
that
space
you guys really do
occasionally.
much week to week.
Cut out some dead space here and there. Cut out the occasional bad word that just can't be bleeped. Or if we have a hiccup, mess up, one of us has to go use the washroom mid podcast. We'll cut that out just to save.
I don't know if we've
guys.
ever used a washroom mid podcast.
I'm saying that for like phone calls and stuff. It's just a general term.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, that if something comes up and we need to, but
away
for the most
for
part,
whatever
it's
reason.
cutting out the odd little thing, and here it is, beginning to end, from the time we start to the time we finish, and that's why it's. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff I'm sure editing and cutting we could do.
Yeah.
Right. If you were a sound engineer, there's things we could do. If we had all the time in the world and nothing but this podcast was our job, there is a lot we could do.
Oh, it's also hard for us being a web-based podcast, right? We're not sitting in the same room where you see a lot of podcasts and you get the camera switching and they're sitting in chairs, and it's easier, I find, to have a conversation. To where for us, it normally one of us goes on a monologue for 5-10 minutes, and then the other one chimes in.
Well, what do you mean it's easier to have a conversation? I find this plenty easy to have a conversation. You don't feel comfortable in the conversation we have?
No, I feel comfortable in the conversation we have, but I find it's a lot easier to interrupt someone and interject person to person, not just over the screen.
I mean, for the amount of times I interrupt you, I would say I disagree. It is very easy to do over the web.
Well,
like
I guess
this.
not so much for me. Okay, shut up.
You're just a soft, gentle soul. You're just a soft, gentle soul.
Very soft. Very soft and fluffy, which is a perfect segue into what we wanted to talk about, unless you wanted to do the recovery of the month first.
Absolutely. That's what we want to talk about, is the recovery of the month, as I absolutely just boulder you through. It is that time again. We are not late this month. I just realized before recording we had already picked a winner. I didn't put everything together for it. I was like, oh, looked at the date and went, oh no, it's the last. You reminded me last time. It's not the first, it's the last week of a month.
Yeah.
So it is time for the June 2023 recovery of the month, sponsored this month by the fine folks over at Herb's Towing. Visit herbstowing.ca, specializing in local and long distance U.S. cross-border, international, into Quebec, everywhere they go. You call them. It's the one number you need to call. So that being said, their little ad is out of the way. The winner of the recovery of the month will get a $50 Amazon gift card, Canadian dollars.
Yep.
Which this submission actually does come out of Ontario.
Ooh.
They didn't mention where they came out of, but based on their story, we'll get into, it was very easy to figure out what province they were in.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in our home province, in our home country.
Yep.
They win a $50 Canadian Amazon gift card, as well as a spot in our 2024 calendar that will go on sale at the end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have it fresh up on your wall for December or for January. It won't be one of those stupid calendars where you get December. Like, it's going to start fresh in January. You ever see those? You get something start in December and then you got January, February. No. This is going to start in January. It's going to end in December. Okay.
We're going to make sure you have to remember mid-holidays to change over your calendar.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why they did that. That's a smart idea. I never thought of that. Damn it.
Because you always forget and you're like, oh, I really need to change that. But you're so busy. You just don't.
Fun fact, my calendar in my office, I always forget to change it. My wife had made me a calendar with like our dog, I think, with all different stuff. Because
we can't even remember what it is.
Well, it's my dog, but it's all different photos of my dog.
Oh, okay. Different
times or whatever. Anyways, and I always forget to flip it. And she always comes into my office and goes, would you, like, we're 2 weeks in. So anyways, contest will run until September 31st. So, or 30th. I don't remember how many days are in September. I think there might be 30. If so, it runs till September 30th. It runs till the day before October 1st.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. So don't forget to get your submissions in, because although it will close at the end of September, you will still have a chance to win October, November, December. We just need to close it ahead of time to get calendars into production, have winners already pre-selected. So head over to towinglife.ca/recovery to get your submission in now. All you need is a blurb. It doesn't have to be a novel. It can be a small paragraph on the recovery that you did with some cool, as high quality photos as you can get. We can work some magic and get your spot in the calendar, get a chance to win. This month's winner, coming out of Ontario, as I mentioned, which I never did check what part of Ontario, is Mr. Bradley Clift from, it looks like, DNO Towing. So this wonderful photo of a nice NRC rotator lifting a boat off of the boom was sent in by Bradley. And it goes, we had only had a rotator for a few days. Local fire department called asking specifically for the rotator, telling us they had a strange recovery. The fire department had dragged the boat to the east side of the pier. Our plan was to hook onto the boat and level it out in order to put recovery straps under the boat. Once the straps were in place, we would lift it out of the water and onto our float. We realized we wouldn't have the reach to go over a small amount of grass in the pier. The owner of the company and the rotator operator had to back down a 1,000-foot pier that is only 10 foot wide. We attempted to pick up the boat, but every hook on the boat were not installed properly, so we couldn't adjust the boat. We went back to the OPP in the fire department, there's how we knew it was Ontario, and came up with another plan. The fire department dragged the boat over by the end of the boat launch. We dragged the boat up from the boat launch, then picked it up with the rotator and placed it onto our float.
Sounds like a multi-step process.
A multi-step process, right? And you're right. And if anyone has ever been taught in any level of training, they tell you we're just repositioning for the second part of our plan.
Yeah.
And the third part of our plan.
because the first plan didn't go according to plan.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So Bradley, good job. It was it looks like you guys did a fine job considering everything. You said you just had the rotator for not very long.
A couple days.
In a couple days. I'm not sure if that was your first ever rotator or if it was just that rotator you had for a couple days, whatever the case may be. And everyone knows how it is. You get a truck and
you don't know what you need until you're on a job and realize, hey, this would help a lot.
You know how many times I've gotten a piece of equipment that isn't ready yet and it comes up to a job that we needed, so we end up taking it out?
Yep.
Like, that's a reality of the industry. But let me ask you, does that truck and the fact that it's an NRC possibly look like a truck of a friend of ours that we would know, who you might have had a talk with at the tow show? I mean, the colors line up.
Yeah.
And it's an NRC product.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to him and ask him. But that being said, if it is your first ever rotator, I would look at the option of some spreader bars. Right? I'm not trying to criticize or tear down your recovery. You guys did a phenomenal job. You got the job done safely. You got the job done. Right? That's what's important. I'm not going to be this armchair quarterback that's going to tell you how to operate a rotator.
Yeah.
But maybe just look into some spreader bars, and you might get a little more reach out of an ability to do the things that you want to do and level out the way you want to level out. So other than that, it's cool. Great shot for June in the calendar. I think it's perfect. We could have maybe saved it for August, July. But I mean, we pick the winners as they come in.
Yeah, it's a beautiful photo. You got the sun setting in the background, which is just shining onto the boat nicely, and you can see the rotator. The lights are on, and it's showing in the shadows, and it's just an overall good photo.
Yeah, it was a great photo and a great recovery story. So thank you, Bradley, from D&O Towing, and we will be reaching out with your gift card that you will win, and you will be able to get a calendar near the end of the year for the 2024. I'm sure the boss will be happy to see that proudly showing up in the office, especially when June 2024 comes around. I just realized, it says June 2023. It'll say June 2024.
I think most of our photos say June 2023 because this is the winning photo for June.
Right. That is fair. I'm glad you were able to
remind me. As long as you remember to edit all those before we send them off to the calendar people.
I'm going to have all kinds of work to do come editing time. I maybe bring in a graphic designer.
If you see anything wrong with your calendar for 2024, blame him. Okay?
I would say if you see anything wrong with something on our podcast, to blame TowManG, but the reality is...
Yeah, blame you.
The reality is.
Yeah, the reality is. Anyways. Anywho...
congratulations to Brad.
Yeah, congratulations, Brad.
Thank you. Brad just wants to hear that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Brad.
Yeah, sometimes it just makes you feel good when you hear someone that appreciates what you've done. Anyway.
Absolutely. I think it goes a long way in wanting you to continue to strive to be excellent.
Yes.
People are giving you the pat on the back that you deserve.
Yeah, the covenant POB. Yes. So yeah, is striving for excellence dead? That's the topic. And this is the topic that can kind of spiral into something that might get us canceled. Now, striving for excellence, in my eyes, is something that really makes a good operator. Because as we know, the money might not always be there for the job and the amount of work that you have to do. And it's a lot of pride that you got to take in yourself and what you do for a living and what you do to provide for your family and to take care of the motoring public, right? But I find...
I hate how much I work.
So this is the part that I always have to fight with myself, right? It's an ongoing battle every day. And
alcoholism.
To me, I find that we're not really pushing younger people to be a man, right? To be the man that goes out and does things, right? Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of new job opportunities, like being a content creator. People can make a living at doing this, right? That takes another... People do. But that takes another set of hands out of the labor market to build bridges, or put out fires, or to tow cars, right? That kind of thing. So the labor market is getting bigger, or the job opportunities are getting bigger. But unfortunately, if we push more and more young people into those sectors, we're going to have fewer people to build the bridges. We're going to have fewer people to put up hydro poles, and we're going to have fewer people to tow cars, right? Because, like, the saying goes, and you've said it before on the show, and I'm a firm believer of it, easy times. Come on. I wanted you to follow it up so we could do like each other's words. Come on.
Easy times make soft men. Soft men make hard times. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, or fortunately, we're in a very easy time right now. So far, kind of. We're kind of transitioning.
Yeah,
No,
I
we are.
don't know. You know, we're just coming out of a pandemic and everything else. I don't know if easy times
Yeah,
is the
we are
best way
just
to
coming
describe.
out of the easy times, right? So this is where like the kids that are 10 to 20 years old, they're going to have to get tough quick, unfortunately, I think, in my own opinion. And maybe in another 10 years, our hiring pool will get bigger, right? Because if you've been in this industry for more than 3 years, you've noticed that there's not too many people knocking on our doors looking for jobs. That's just, it is what it is, I guess.
I agree, and I disagree.
What do you disagree on?
So what I'm going to say to start this, I learned this new word today. Without prejudice,
That's a
is
good
a
word to
statement
have in the
settlement
arsenal.
in a dispute can be relied upon as evidence against me in a future dispute. Without prejudice, these big words.
Disclaimer.
You say that there's all these different new types of jobs, right? Like content creation wasn't a job or something you can make a career out of 15 years ago.
Yeah, correct.
Right? How many coal miners do you know?
Not too many.
Exactly. What I'm saying is I don't think that there's this, all these new jobs. Like we've expanded the available jobs in a job market. We have lost some and we have gained different jobs.
Yep.
Right? There's no shoe shiners anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Where that maybe used to be a job. There's very few places I watched an Adam Sandler movie where he fixes shoes. I don't know what the actual term of that professional is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are few and far. So I don't think it's that there's all these other jobs that are available. It's that some have stopped, some have, new jobs have kind of, we've evolved as a society.
Yeah, but more so meaning that we're pushing more children into more education to get like office jobs to make
that's been
productivity.
a huge problem for years, right? They've been telling you where the skilled labor was bound to meet a shortage because nobody was going to trade schools.
Yeah.
Right. They were going to universities and I remember, you know what I mean? Even my wife is a victim, I will call it, of that push to post-secondary education and university and college courses that give you nothing but debt, and there's not very many opportunities in the fields that they're pushing you towards.
Even Sarah, one of her last episodes on here with us, she was going over her college experience.
Yeah.
Where the first 2 or 3 years of her course, they're all, you're going to go out and help save the world. In the last year, they're like, yeah, there's no work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100%. It's a scam. I do believe that a lot of parts of post-secondary education are a goddamn scam.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we're coming around to it and we're seeing our shortages and we're trying to adapt it. And the problem is when you get to the point that you're trying to adapt, it's too late. Right? Nurses, shortage of nurses. When did we learn about that? When we had a pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? And even now we're still, fighting it. Like there's still a shortage of healthcare workers. So you see all these grants. Yeah. Let's get them. The problem is you're going to push. I get that you can maybe, of every 1,000 you push, only maybe 500 become, work through into that field. But the problem is you're going to push until you overpopulate it again. But this is economics too, right? Like the towing industry has done that. If a towing company see that there's work in an area, let's open a towing company there. Let's open a towing company. 6 guys have the same idea and then they overpopulate and they drive the prices down. And then it'll recycle again in 10, 15 years, depending on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. But when it coming to the strive for excellence is it dead? Here's my opinion.
Okay.
I don't think striving for excellence is dead. I think the definition of what excellence is or who you're striving for is. And let me explain that.
Yep.
If you are striving for excellence for humble reasons, meaning I just want to be the fucking best. I just want to be the best. I don't need somebody to tell me that I am. I want to be the best. And so I want to push myself. I want to have that discipline to go in every day with an open mind, to learn as much as I can, and to do the best job that I can. I think because egos are, just like society, egos are huge nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of people coming in going, I want to be the best. And the best means somebody tells me I am the best, or somebody knows who I am.
Yeah.
We've brought this guy up so many times, but Davey.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who Davey is.
No.
Other than the few people that have had the pleasure, and I mean pleasure, to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he, in my opinion, still is one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't need people across the industry to recognize him that he's the best. He doesn't even recognize he's the best. But Dave's a perfect example of striving for excellence, but for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
He strives to be the best that he can be, and it's always learning. Where so many people nowadays, especially with the introduction of social media, and this whole new construct that we have in society, right? Like, yes, is the strive for, being the best or excellence dead? In a way, it is. And hate me, love me. I'm gonna say most people agree. Fucking participation awards are a good way to start that.
Yep.
Right? Why should I work harder to get a trophy when that guy? There's still going to be those true passionate individuals that will grow and develop through that kind of system. But it's the other ones that now think they're the best because I got a trophy.
One of the main reasons why I wanted to bring this up is because I was watching a podcast, and some of you may know that I'm trying to start a farm, and this podcast is called Barn Talk. And you think it might just be a solely farming podcast, but they talk about everything. And they brought up about what is in your last name, right? Where a lot of people don't really carry their last name anymore. Like you look at Budweiser. That family had owned that company for a very long time, and then they sold it. Well, now that next generation.
Wait, it was a family called Budweiser?
Anheuser-Busch.
Okay, well, they still run that name. That's still a known...
Yes, but they are no longer a part of that corporation, right? So,
the Anheuser-Busch family.
Yeah, they sold it, right? So that's no longer really associated with them. Yes, they started the company, but they no longer participate in that anymore. And I find that with a lot of people, like when I was growing up, I would always throw my last name around because it had some sort of meaning in my small town. And I'm not saying on the grand scheme, I don't want everyone to know who I am. But in your neighborhood, be that guy that knows how to fix things, right? Set that standard, right? If you know how to do something well, be willing to teach other people and being willing to help other people, because that goes a long way. And I think that really applies to our job as well. Because if you don't have a standard that you yourself has set and meets and or exceeds, well, then you're
striving to exceed.
Exactly. You're just going to say, oh, well, this participation award's just fine. I don't need to go above and beyond and try to expand my skill set or teach someone else a new skill that might benefit them in the future, which could turn around and maybe benefit me or my family down the road because they now know something and maybe they'll be able to teach me something down the road, possibly. Like, we just don't see that kind of stuff anymore. Right? I know 30, 40, 50 years ago, people really cared about their last name. And that was like one of the things, especially in small towns. I know in cities, there's just so many more people, but in rural parts of the country, both America and Canada, pretty well the same once you get into rural areas.
Yeah, your name means something.
Your name means something, and you want to carry that with pride. And you got the small town gossip and everything where that name can be run through the mud if you do something stupid.
Right? I don't believe in that small town gossip, but it's funny you ask what is in a name. So I looked up my last name and it says blank because I'm not giving you my last name. Sorry, listener. is a surname of French origin, most often found in France, Canada, and the United States. Notable people with the name include Alexandre Blanc de Beauretour, Piedmont general who served in the Imperial Russian Army. Ooh, hot topic. Oof, sorry, my family did some bad shit. Alexis Blanc, born 1975, French linguist. Okay, that's a big gap.
Yeah.
there is like 2 French people.
Yeah. And a Russian.
The history of the Blanc name began during the Middle Ages in a region once known as Languedoc. The French name is derived from the ancient given, meaning one who is like God.
There goes your fucking ego.
Somebody finally understands me.
No, but like
Somebody finally understands me.
it's a generation thing, and that's why I said hard times make easy men and easy men make hard times. Well, you said it really. But if you don't set a standard for yourself or your family, then that family is going to grow up without standards. Like what to keep in your car in case of an emergency? Blanket, maybe a candle, a jack to change your tire. Do you know how to change your tire? Like these are all things that pretty much everyone listening or watching the show should know. But the amount of people that don't know basic, simple tasks that could help you in a life or death situation or a bad situation is kind of frightening if you think about it. And like, it's great that people like us exist to be able to help them, but that's also for a price. I'm a firm believer of being somewhat, if not all, self-sustainable in those situations. At least doing your best to not put yourself in shitty situations, like putting yourself in a submarine that's remote controlled.
It's not that it's remote controlled.
Oh.
It's that it's remote control with like an Xbox controller.
Oh, okay. Like, don't get me wrong. That's their thing. I hope if all else fails and they aren't found, which is just horrible, at least they died doing something that they were passionate about.
Paying $300,000 to go down to the Titanic.
Oh, I thought they worked there.
No.
Oh, they're tourists.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it worse.
They're rich tourists.
I'll just retract that last statement.
Oh, no, you still got to feel bad if they died. You can't not feel bad.
Yeah, of course. Still feel bad, but... Oh.
But no, they were tourists. I
thought they were doing a job.
$300,000.
I hope they signed a waiver.
Finally, he doesn't feel bad. Your privilege is showing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, taking pride and making smart decisions in your life are very important. I just went on a whole little, while you're going through that, a whole 21andMe family history search.
You're going to be spitting in a cup here soon.
No, I have so my father had done some research back when on my family name, and it goes on topic with your what is in the name. Yeah. And so he had gone over, and actually one of the tattoos that I have on my arm, I can show it without actually showing. Actually, it'll give away who I don't care. Squirrel. But my family coat of arms that we have traced back is a French saying, spelt not proper in today's French, but apparently it was Acadian French, was "Fede ce que dire," which translates, if you want to directly translate that, is if you say it, do it. It's do what you say is the direct translation, I guess. Do what you say.
Yep.
So it is very appropriate when it comes to building that family name and taking pride in who you are as a person and who you are as a professional, whether it be in your day-to-day life, right? Like, I would like to think from the time that you and I had spent working together till now, I've grown as a person. Yep. Am I perfect? Fuck no.
No one is.
I am so far from being the Davey that I always refer to. I'm being, if I could be half as humble as that man, I'd be golden. But you improve, you grow, and then that is what it is keep working towards something. That to me is the biggest point of striving for excellence, is to continuously be working for something. I have worked day in, day out to be less of an asshole than I was before. Am I still an asshole? Sure. Have I succeeded? Nope. But I've gotten better. I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, and I'm not sitting here going, I can, if you stick with me, you stick with me. My way is the way to be. It's not.
No.
My way works for me. My way works for me, but I hate less. I'm angry less. And I'm a nicer person, except when we get on this podcast and I have to talk about you. 98% of the time outside of those three situations, I'm a better person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's about that too. It's when it comes to the industry and the direct impact that it has on our industry, it's that you get guys that come in, rookies, right? With they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Yeah.
Right. We made a song. Did we ever put that song out? Did I ever finish that song?
No.
Should put out that song. We've got a remake of I Came In Like a Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus song to you know what I realized? Speaking of that, we can play music on the show. We're not monetized through YouTube or Spotify.
Yeah, but on YouTube they will mute us sometimes.
Not if you're not monetized.
Yeah.
Well, they can if you're not monetized. Anyways, we'll get into that another other time. But going back to the whole thing, they come in like a rookie, 10 foot tall, bulletproof, and I'm gonna be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then they post dumb shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
Those are the guys you gotta watch for. And then they get absolutely sabotaged and degraded. Mm-hmm. Because let's be honest, the operators out there are not exactly the kindest folk whenever you do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So they get absolutely blasted. And then they go and they're sitting there defending themselves, which is always the best part. It's like, no, I know what I'm doing. You don't know. What do you know? No. Like, just be smart. Don't post your stuff. Yeah. Do your job.
Here's a tip for anyone out there, regardless if it's towing or furniture making. If you are overly passionate about a craft, stay out of the forums. Stay out of the pages on Facebook. Do your own thing. Because if you post it on anything where anyone can state their opinion on it, you're going to be told that you did it wrong. You should have done it this way. What you did was a waste of time, and you don't need that kind of negativity in your life. You just don't.
Opinions are like asshole. Everybody has one.
Exactly. And you just don't need to read it. You don't need to see it. You just don't.
But at the same time, though, some people need that criticism. I don't think criticism in that sense is a bad idea. I have no problem with somebody posting a dumb thing that they did and getting torched and then go and learning from it. That's an important step. But it's when you post dumb shit and double down on your dumb shit. That's the problem.
I'm more so talking about not posting dumb shit.
I'm finishing this thought. Your parents and all this other shit that you talked about, where, you know what I mean, society is, let's give it a participation award, have said you are special and you are the best.
Yeah. And
you are the best. And so it gives this false sense of confidence that I know what I'm talking about. No, you don't. If there's any young operators listening, and I've met a lot of great young operators. I've trained some. I've been trained by some. I've learned things from some. You don't know shit.
Yeah.
Because fun fact, I don't know shit. I know more than you know because I've been at it a little longer. But in the reality, I don't know it all. So if I don't know it all 10 years in, you sure as shit don't know it all in less than a year.
Yeah.
You've got a long way to go. Be humble. Learn. Take criticism when you get criticism. And just learn and grow. There's nothing wrong with being told you're wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Every time you're wrong doesn't mean you have to argue about it. You can be wrong. You can sit back, swallow your pride, and say, in that situation there, I made a mistake and I didn't handle that properly, or I didn't do that properly and I was wrong. I had to do that today.
Really?
I did that 45 minutes before we got on to this show.
Wow.
I had to sit and say, it was a situation that came up, and I won't get into details, but it was a situation that came up, and I had to sit back and go, you know what? I didn't handle that the way that I should have. I was wrong, and I apologize for that.
Yep.
And I will work on doing it better next time. That's called growth. And I wasn't saying that because I was worried about what somebody thought about me. I wasn't doing that so that I could appease somebody.
Yeah. You weren't trying to do it to save face.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
And the only way you turn wrong into right and be better for the next time is admitting when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, mistakes happen. As long as you learn from them, then it's not really an overall big mistake. As long as
No,
you
absolutely.
took something
Mistakes.
away from it.
I'm gonna make mistakes. God damn it! I've made so many mistakes in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Hiring you was one of them. Sorry, I had to say face. I had to say face. I'd gone too long without being mean. Um, but no, that's what it comes to. But the problem is this industry is full of a lot of A-type personalities, and I've always said that A-type personalities can make better operators than B-type personalities. Right? You know what saying I'd like to take back? You know what? I'll let the participation awards go. I'll allow them. I'll say, fine, you know what? You can have your participation awards. If we go away from there's no such thing as a stupid question, because there is 100% stupid questions.
Yeah, there's always been stupid questions, and no,
But
we
it's
should
not-
not keep participation awards.
I'm allowing participation awards if you
You
can say
shouldn't.
that is a stupid question.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't allow both. Like, you should just not have either of them. But no, just to defend my last point, I was saying not posting dumb shit, but like, let's say you're a really good woodcrafter and you make a really nice dresser, but then someone criticizes that, oh, you didn't use this technique, it's fucking garbage, right? That's the kind of shit that I don't like. If you post dumb shit and people who know what they're talking about says you did some dumb shit, yeah, I understand that kind of criticism.
Okay.
But
You're talking about no matter you could ace something.
mhm.
You could be the best.
And
of
there's
the
just
best
people
of the
out
best.
there just looking and
There's just-
teasing for that chance to try to break someone down.
Oh yeah, there's just people that enjoy tearing people down. I used to be one of those. That's why I say I've grown in 5 years, or 10 years, or however long we've known each other. I used to be that person that would absolutely, if I didn't like you,
Yeah.
I would find out a way how to cut the deepest, like
Yeah.
something that really bugged you, and absolutely have at her.
Mhm.
You think I'm mean now? I was a dick. I mean, I was a dick, and I did it to people I loved over the years. I did it to, like I was not a good person.
No.
And I'm not saying I'm a good person now.
But you're better than what you were. So we're
But,
making
yeah,
progress.
Now, if I don't like somebody, I just don't like you, and good for you. Happy for you. Like I don't, no grudges, no whatever.
Yeah.
You don't know me to hold a grudge.
No.
I've never held a grudge.
Getting back to it, it's like we pretty much everything that we've talked about so far, where does it all stem from? I feel like it stems from schooling, parenting. Like it stems from
grassroots.
Sorry?
It's got to start at the grassroots.
Right. So I was just having a conversation with my girlfriend about like our ideal is to be able to live off the farm so she can stay home and homeschool our children, right? And I feel like that's something that's been demonized.
What children?
Well, our future children, right? This is our plan, right?
I thought this was like an announcement.
No.
Okay.
This is not an announcement. I would not make an announcement in this way of the show. Okay.
Why not?
Just because
This would
we're
be a
talking.
great way to make an announcement.
Oh my gosh, she does have an upset stomach. Who knows? Anyways. So we were talking about it, and we've been talking about this for a long time. She wants to homeschool our children, and she's a kindergarten teacher, so she knows what the public school system is like. Right?
So they're screwed after 6 years old. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is something that she is passionate about, right? So this is a goal that we are trying to achieve together as a couple, right? And society has demonized that for a long time. It's like, oh, you should go to work. You don't stay home because that's an old woman thing to do. Like you just don't do that.
Oh, okay, so you're going with the sexist side of it, not that we're going to live in a convent side of things. Okay.
No,
that's
but
where
like,
I thought you were saying it was demonized.
Well, it was demonized, and I think from judging from our opinions, and not our opinions, but our views on other people our age, we're kind of getting back to more of the man goes out and makes the money, so we have someone there to look after the kids, right? So we can have that family and we can set that standard, right? I'm not saying it's to each person's own degree on severity, whether you want to homeschool or send your kids to public school, but like you really need to instill in kids and your family in general the rules that you want to live your life and your family by, Because if you don't have that standard, which I keep going back to, you'll fall for anything. And the saying goes, if you don't believe in anything, you'll fall for anything. And I find, like, me personally, I've always been in between I'll just sit on my ass and play fucking video games. But then I'll get into a mood like, I really shouldn't do that. I'm just wasting my life. I need to go out and do something, build something, and be productive in society. But that long-term goal is a lot harder for my brain to comprehend, and it just gets overly tired. So then I got to break it down into smaller things to make it more manageable, right? And that's learning things that I've had to pick up over time, and being able to break things down into smaller things and actually make my goals achievable, right? And that's not something that's taught.
No. Not as much as it should be. Like how to have long-term goals and
how to have a hard conversation with someone. Like having a hard conversation, I find is just avoided, right?
Yeah.
Instead of sitting down as a family and having this hard conversation, we'll go out and rent jet skis and we'll just have fun. We won't accomplish anything, but we'll just have fun.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does she listen to the show?
Not normally.
Okay, you're gonna have kids with her?
Yeah.
Hot topic.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Because her personality.
I mean, that's I didn't realize how much of a dick that sounds like right now.
We are opposites in so many different aspects of life, but at our core, we're one and the same. Like, we both want the same goals and same end life. And I think our opposites will help us parent better because we'll both have different views on things, right?
That was some corny stuff.
But it's true. I'm not trying to be corny.
Are on the same interstellar level.
Well, you
sound like a hippie who's gonna run a convent with your kids locked in it.
No, you see, we can have hard conversations and sit down and discuss things, which I find most people don't, or they don't have the opportunity to, right?
Especially, can we have hard conversations?
I'm sorry?
Have we ever had a hard conversation? Do you think we could have a hard conversation? Are our hearts on the same plane?
I don't think we have hard conversations because we always just throw insults at each other to kind of lighten the mood.
We're going back to our primate days where we just throw shit at each other.
Yeah, pretty much. Right? But I feel like not enough people are able to have these hard conversations and actually like set the standard for their family, to bring their kids up, to be able to go into the world and think for themselves and do things for themselves and not rely on other people or the government. And in a roundabout way of what I'm hoping gets across in this is our hiring pool sucks. And that's why.
And if you're looking for a convent to join, TowManG's chicken convent should be ready in the next 2 to 3 years. No, it is true though. The hard conversations. So I'm going to share a little personal side to me. Okay. Recently, my wife and I had a fight.
No.
We had a fight because of, do you want to take a guess why?
You work too much.
Oh my God.
I sent her a message and I said, this is a good time to bring this up.
Yeah, you see, we're on the same, our hearts are on the same level, you and IG. We had a fight about working too much. Right. And obviously it's a weird time going off. The owner's off on paternity leave. I've had a fraction of his work put on to me. Like I'm just overloaded right now. Right. And I'm doing my best that I can. And so I'm like, man, you picked a terrible time to pick this fight. So we got into a fight, and anyway, she was upset about it. I was less upset because there's still that dick side of me that still exists.
Yeah, you don't let things phase you the same as she does.
100%. 100%. So anyways, didn't help. I then went on an overnight trip. That was the right before that trip that I sent you that I was going overnight, stayed at a hotel, coming back the next day.
Weekend off, mind you.
Yeah, weekend off, mind you, right? So ton of time that we do have to spend together. And because my view is that, we don't have the kids right now. Our goal is we should be working to grow and to build whatever it is we want to build. Now is the time to do it. I had a friend and reach out to me, and I talked to him about it. I'm like, she's mad about this stupid shit. Like, we don't have kids. Like, this should be the time to focus. And what he told me, and it made me realize how terrible of a person I am sometimes still, and how bad of a husband I am. Because he goes, don't forget, bud, you need to not only be building towards your goals, but building towards hers. And I went, I'm like, at first I'm like, that's some corny stuff. Yeah. Like, what therapist told you that? Right? Like, that's some shit you'd have to pay for somebody to tell me. So, but then I sat there and I went, what are her goals?
Do you know?
I didn't know. I know she wants to have a family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I went, it's easy to work for as my goal because I know what my goals are.
But you don't. You said that one of the last episodes. You don't know
I know
where
what
to
my
stop.
goals are. I don't know what my end goal is.
Yeah. But you need to have an end goal. A good quote I heard once is write the obituary you want and work backwards. It's a morbid thing to say.
The end.
But write the obituary you want for what people thought and think of you throughout your whole life, summarized in one fucking page. What are your key aspects, key aspirations, and what you want people to remember you by? And if you say, no one will remember me once I'm gone, make people remember you. Be a good person.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
That's some solid
stuff. That opened my eyes when I heard that.
That's actually some. I'm gonna take that one. You know what? We're gonna have to go because we're starting to run long on time, anyways. But that is one that I'm definitely going to take with me.
So the last part of my question to the listeners was: do you care about us, or do you want to know more stuff about us, or you just want us to stick to the towing stuff? I think this has been a good episode to propose that question on.
I think it's something we could definitely get into, where we could do every couple episodes we get into just a deep dive and straight talk, or we'll save that for our Patreon. We'll put us behind a paywall for all our wonderful listeners, and we'll have just a straight talk, the dirty. We'll call it what do we call it? The towing life. It can be the dark and dirty towing, or the dark life, or the real life, or the real life with Zach and Cody.
Maybe we'll have to do a spin-off podcast. We don't have time for that.
Buddy, I've wanted to have this exact podcast, like the exact thing you want to talk about on this show. I have wanted to do for a long time. I don't have the time.
So let's just mix it. Let this be a melting pot.
I've got the Marriage is Fun podcast that has never gotten off the ground because I can't find time. It's going to be another one with you that won't find time. And then I'll hurt your feelings in the other podcast and it'll affect the towing life. And God damn it.
Yeah. Damn it.
So remember, on behalf of myself and Mr. TowManG, submit your recovery of the month, www.towinglife.ca/recovery, and write your obituary and work backwards from there.
Yeah. Words to live by.
See you next time. Take care.
Toodles. That was fucking deep.
That was good shit.
That was. I really enjoyed that.
You really enjoyed that?
I really enjoyed that.
Okay. Well, let's see what the numbers enjoyed it.
They better, because that's what I want to do from now on. I think we did a pretty good job at keeping it kind of relating to the towing industry.
Yeah, we did. And I think that's something we could do. It doesn't have to be just straight up towing pod topics, but as long as we find ways to relate those back to the towing industry. Like the striving for excellence was easy to bring back. The me being a terrible husband, that was a legit thought I had to myself.
Yeah, I think we should dive in more on that.
On my marriage issues? Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, no, not just your marriage issues, but issues that towers can face. Because both of us as men, right? We don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about that kind of shit because that's not what men do. But we're bad people because of it in certain aspects.
We sit and we drink beer.